They didn't know the man they were humiliating, on the entire building they were standing in. And he didn't correct them. Not yet. Because Lucas Hale, quiet, calm, dressed in a wrinkled gray hoodie instead of the sharp suits people expected a billionaire to wear, had learned something long ago. When people think you're nobody, they show you exactly who they are. He stood near the back of the luxury conference hall, holding a simple glass of sparkling water, blending in with the event staff instead of the executives. Everyone else wore designer tuxedos, diamond watches, polished ambition. But Lucas looked like he'd just walked in from a late-night coding marathon. Which, to be fair, he had. Tonight was supposed to be big. His company, unannounced, low-profile, hidden behind shell corporations, was set to finalize a $900 million merger with a multinational firm known for ruthlessness and power. But before Lucas made his quiet entrance as the hidden CEO, he wanted to see something. How these people behaved when they saw a man they believed had no power. And the universe wasted no time showing him. A woman in a silver gown bumped into him, pretending it was an accident. Her wine sloshed dangerously in her glass. "Watch it," she snapped, looking him up and down. "Who let you in here?" Maintenance staff enters from the back. Lucas blinked, calm. "I'm not maintenance." A man with slicked back hair and the type of smile that belonged on a villain stepped beside her. "Then what are you?" he sneered. "You look like a janitor who got lost." The woman giggled. The man's friends laughed. Another smirked and clinked his champagne glass. Lucas took a slow breath. He'd seen their type his entire life. The arrogant, the loud, the ones who thought the world bent for them. He just didn't expect them to be the same executives trying to buy his company tonight. "Oh, look," the man said loudly, lifting his glass toward the crowd. "We've got a party crasher." The people nearby turned. Lucas could feel the heat of attention he didn't want yet. But he didn't defend himself, didn't correct them, didn't announce his name. He simply said, "I'm here for the signing." The woman scoffed, swirling her wine. "You? Here for the $900 million signing ceremony? Honey, this is business, not charity." Another executive stepped forward, eyes gleaming with cruelty. "Let's help him find the exit." Lucas stayed still. In their world, confidence came from the clothes on your back. In his world, confidence came from knowing you owned everything they stood on. But before he could move, the slick-haired man leaned in and whispered, "People like you don't get close to real money." Then, it happened. The woman in the silver dress, accidentally, tipped her glass forward. A full pour of red wine splashed across Lucas's chest. Gasps rippled through the room. "Oh, oops," she said sweetly, fake concern dripping from her lips. "Maybe next time dress like you belong here." Laughter followed. Sharp, cruel, ugly. Lucas glanced down at his soaked hoodie, red stains blooming like blood. He didn't flinch. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't reveal his identity. He simply looked up at them, eyes steady, calm, almost pitying. "Are you finished?" he asked softly. The man smirked. "We'll be finished when security drags you out." As if summoned, a uniformed guard approached. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to." But then the guard's radio crackled. "Attention! The owner and majority shareholder of Hale Global is entering the building. All staff prepare." The executives straightened instantly. "He's here," one whispered. "Already. Let's greet him," the slick-haired man said quickly. "He should see us first." Lucas exhaled quietly. They had no idea who they were walking toward. The guard stepped aside. "Sir, please." But before he could finish, the double doors swung open. Every head turned, and the announcer's voice echoed through the hall. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO and sole owner of Hale Global." Silence washed over the room. Mr. Lucas Hale. The executives froze. Wine glasses paused midair. Faces drained of color. Because Lucas Hale, billionaire founder, the man they were desperate to impress, the man whose company they needed to survive, the man who held their fate in his hands, was already standing in the room, covered in their wine, and smiling. Slowly, calmly, he stepped forward, and the entire hall realized they hadn't just insulted a stranger. They'd humiliated the man signing their livelihood, the man who controlled their future, the man who could buy and fire every one of them in a heartbeat. And he was about to speak. You could hear a pin drop. Every executive froze where they stood, stiff, pale, lips slightly parted, staring at the man they'd just drenched in wine. Lucas Hale, the billionaire they were all waiting to impress. The man whose signature meant a $900 million deal. The man they just mocked, insulted, belittled, and soaked in Merlot. Lucas stepped forward, his hoodie dripping red, the fabric clinging to him. But his calm, that calm was terrifying. No raised voice. No anger. Just an unreadable stillness. The kind powerful men carry before they ruin someone quietly. The announcer blinked, confused. Oh, Mr. Hale, I didn't realize you were already inside. Lucas smiled politely. It's all right. I wanted to observe. His eyes slid to the silver-dressed woman. She looked like she wanted to fold into herself. He wasn't done. And people, he added softly, are always honest when they think you are beneath them. The silver-dressed woman swallowed. The slick-haired man, his name was Grant, though Lucas didn't bother to remember, tried to recover. And Mr. Hale, this is all a misunderstanding. We didn't know who you were. Lucas considered him. So what did you think I was? He asked quietly. Every executive tensed. Grant forced a laugh that cracked mid-sound. Well, it doesn't matter what we thought. It does, Lucas said softly. Tell me. The woman in silver trembled. Well, we thought you were staff. Janitorial staff. Another muttered, too low for anyone but Lucas to hear. Lucas stepped closer. Close enough that Grant's fake smile died instantly. And what difference? Lucas asked softly. Would that make? Grant's throat bobbed. Well, of course, staff don't belong in. Lucas cut him off, voice gentle enough to sting. In a room like this? No one spoke. He scanned their faces. Expensive watches. Perfect hair. Wine's worth more than most people's monthly rent. So that's the culture you operate by, Lucas said finally. Judge people by their clothes. Their perceived value. Their usefulness to you. The silver-dressed woman's voice cracked. Mr. Hale, please, we didn't mean. You did, Lucas replied calmly. You meant every word. He let that sink in. Then, he turned toward the announcer. Are the documents ready? Yes, sir. The entire executive board is waiting for your approval. The entire room relaxed. If Lucas was still proceeding, they might still be safe. Grant forced a relieved smile. So we can begin the signing ceremony? Lucas wiped a streak of red wine from his sleeve. No, he said simply. Grant froze. And no. Lucas looked straight at him. You insulted a man you thought was poor. You humiliated someone you assumed was beneath you. You judged me by my clothes. And you exposed the true character of your entire team. He paused. And you expect me to trust you with a $900 million contract. Every face collapsed into panic. Mr. Hale, please, Grant breathed. This deal is vital for our company. And for your jobs, Lucas added. Grant stiffened. I can't, he sputtered. I can't be held responsible for. You poured wine on a stranger, Lucas said. For existing. The woman suddenly fell to her knees. Please, Mr. Hale, I have a daughter. I can't lose my position. Please don't cancel the deal. I'm begging you. Lucas looked at her for a long, heavy moment. Then he exhaled slowly. I'm not canceling the deal, he said. The executives sagged with relief. That would punish innocent employees, Lucas continued. People who work hard, unlike the ones who mocked me tonight. Grant looked up, hopeful. So you'll sign? Lucas's expression shifted. Oh, I'll sign, he said gently. But not with you. Grant's face twisted. What? What do you mean not with me? Lucas turned to the announcer. Bring me your junior staff, he said. The analysts. The assistants. The interns. The ones who weren't invited to this event. The room went silent. I want new leadership, Lucas said. One built on respect, not ego. Grant's mouth fell open. You can't do that. Lucas smiled softly. I own the contract. And starting now, I own your company's fate. Everyone watched as Grant's confidence collapsed like wet paper. Lucas turned to the woman on her knees. You won't lose your job, he said softly. But you will be transferred. Far from leadership. Far from people you can hurt. She burst into grateful tears. Grant lunged forward. You think you can humiliate me? Ruin my career? You don't have that kind of power. Lucas raised an eyebrow. Security. 2 guards grabbed Grant before he reached Lucas. Escort Mr. Grant out, Lucas said calmly. He no longer represents this company. Grant screamed curses as he was dragged away, echoing through the hall like the cry of a man watching his empire burn. Lucas turned back to the stunned crowd. This deal will proceed, he said, but only with people who understand value isn't worn. It's shown. He wiped the wine from his chest one last time. And in my experience, He glanced toward the double doors where junior staff timidly entered. The most valuable people are usually the ones you overlook. The executives bowed their heads. The junior analyst stared at Lucas with awe. And Lucas smiled. Because for once, he didn't feel like the billionaire in the room. He felt like the only one who saw the truth. The junior staff hovered at the doorway, unsure whether they were actually supposed to enter the grand hall that had always been off-limits to people like them. Analysts in cheap blazers. Interns holding clipboards too tightly. Assistants who had spent years fetching coffee for the very executives now trembling in the back row. Lucas turned toward them with a warm, steady smile. "Come in," he said softly. "You're the reason this company has a future." They exchanged hesitant glances, then stepped forward. The contrast was almost cinematic. Behind them, executives who had everything, but treated everyone like nothing. In front of them, a billionaire who had everything, but treated everyone with equal worth. A young intern, barely 22, hands shaking so hard the papers in her hand rattled, was the first to speak. "And Mr. Hale, are you sure you want us?" We're not qualified to represent the merger team." Lucas smiled. "That's exactly why I chose you." The room gasped. "Leadership," he said calmly, "is about character, not title." A junior analyst whispered under her breath, "Is this really happening?" Another analyst, older, worn out from years of being ignored, wiped his eyes discreetly. Grant's absence left an eerie silence. You could still feel the echo of his outrage hanging in the air. Lucas turned toward the cluster of executives at the back. "You've had your chance," he said, "and you showed me exactly why this company is falling apart." Their shoulders sank as if gravity suddenly punished them. The silver-dressed woman stepped forward, trembling. "Mr. Hale, I know I messed up, but I'm not like Grant. I swear I'm not. Her voice cracked. "I just wanted to fit in." Lucas sighed softly. "That's the problem. People do cruel things when they're afraid to be different." She lowered her head, silent. Lucas looked back at the junior staff. "You all kept your heads down. You worked. You stayed kind. You didn't step on others to climb. That's why you will be the new bridge between my company and yours." One of the younger interns bit his lip, overwhelmed. "But we don't know how to do any of this." Lucas chuckled softly. "Neither did I when I started." The room quieted again. Because that statement wasn't corporate fluff. It was truth. And the truth carried weight. Lucas took a breath and finally revealed the part of himself he'd kept hidden for years. "I wasn't born wealthy," he said. "I wasn't born into power. No trust fund. No investors. I slept in my car the first year I built Hale Global." The junior staff stared. The executives stiffened. They'd never heard this story. "I went to pitch meetings in thrift store jackets," he continued. "I was laughed out of boardrooms. Mocked. Ignored. Dismissed." He gestured lightly to his wine-stained hoodie. So today was familiar. The sting of those words hit the executives like a blade. Lucas turned to face them fully. "You judged me because of my clothes. Dismissed me because you didn't recognize me." His voice softened. "And that's why I hid my identity. Not for privacy, but because people reveal their souls when they think no one important is watching." He let silence settle. A deep, heavy silence that made the chandelier lights seem suddenly brighter. The junior analyst, an older man in his 50s, took a shaky breath. "Mr. Hale, may I say something?" Lucas nodded. "You've given us a chance we never expected. But what about the merger? The board won't accept junior staff. They'll want the heads of departments." Lucas smiled gently. "They don't need to." He turned to the announcer. "Bring in the rest." The doors opened again, and in walked 10 people, middle-aged, modestly dressed, nervous but determined. The room murmured. Lucas faced the executives. "These," he said, "are the employees you laid off this year." Shock rippled through the hall. An older woman wiped her tears as Lucas placed a hand on her shoulder. "They were fired to cut costs. But they were your company's backbone." He turned to the junior staff. "They're your mentors now. They know the industry better than anyone here." The room erupted in stunned whispers. Lucas finally picked up the contract from the table. He tapped the front page. "The merger goes through," he said, "but under new leadership, new culture, new rules." He placed a pen gently into the shaking hands of the young intern. "Would you like to help me sign it?" Her eyes filled with tears. "And me?" "Yes," he said softly. "You." The executives watched in paralyzed silence as the intern stepped forward and placed her signature alongside the billionaire's. a symbolic act that rewrote the hierarchy of the entire room. When the ink dried, Lucas closed the contract folder. And then he said something that no one expected. Real power, he murmured, belongs to the ones who lift others, not the ones who stand on top. The room exhaled. Executives humbled. Junior staff empowered. Laid-off workers restored. Grant exiled. And Lucas? He was exactly where he wanted to be. Not above others, but among those who deserved better. The news spread through the building like electricity. Lucas Hale is here, in a hoodie, and he just fired Grant. He replaced the executive board. With interns? No, with good people. By the time Lucas stepped onto the stage for the official signing ceremony, reporters had already gathered outside the glass walls of the conference hall. Camera flashes flickered like lightning. Microphones hovered. Whispers rippled. But Lucas didn't flinch. He stood in front of a shimmering gold backdrop, still wearing his wine-stained hoodie, a symbol now of everything he believed in. The newly reinstated employees stood behind him. The junior staff who'd been overlooked for years stood beside him. And the executives who once mocked him were nowhere near the spotlight. A host stepped forward. Mr. Hale, the world would like a statement before the official announcement. Lucas's eyes drifted briefly toward the back of the room, to the silver-dressed woman still trembling, and to the cluster of silent executives who had gone white as chalk. He stepped up to the podium. He didn't need a script. I came tonight expecting to sign a contract, he said calmly. But before I could sign anything, I learned something more important. Cameras flashed. Success, he continued, isn't defined by who stands in front, but by how they treat the people standing behind them. A murmur rolled through the hall. Lucas nodded toward the staff beside him. Tonight, I saw cruelty. I saw arrogance. I saw people who believe leadership means stepping on those they consider lesser. The silver-dressed woman lowered her gaze, shameful tears gathering. But, Lucas said, his voice softening, I also saw kindness, courage, humility, people who have worked tirelessly without recognition. He gestured to the junior analyst beside him. This man kept your financial records clean for 10 years, and the board never once learned his name. Then to the nervous intern. This young woman helped build the research that made this merger possible, and she wasn't even invited to the event. Then to the older woman who had been laid off. And this woman trained half the department, only to be fired so someone else could take credit for her work. The audience went silent. I won't lead a company that rewards cruelty, Lucas said. I won't partner with a company that mocks those they think low. His voice dropped. And I won't tolerate a culture that pours wine on someone because of a hoodie. Gasps. Flashes. 100 whispers. Grant's former allies shifted uncomfortably. Lucas lifted the signed contract. This merger will happen, he said, but not under the leadership that stood before me tonight. He turned and handed the folder to the junior staff team, every one of them staring as if holding a dream they never believed was theirs. You are the new leadership, Lucas said softly, not because of your titles, but because of your integrity. Reporters exploded into questioning. Mr. Hale, why didn't you reveal your identity earlier? Do you always test people this way? Was this intentional? Lucas waited for silence. Then he answered with a truth that struck harder than any headline. When I was young, he said, someone once poured hot coffee on me because they thought I was homeless. The room froze. They didn't know I had just been evicted and had nowhere to go. Even the coldest of executives swallowed hard. So I learned, Lucas said, that how people treat you when they think you're powerless tells you everything. Then he added quietly, and tonight, it told me enough. He stepped back from the podium and turned toward the crowd of staff, now glowing with disbelief and pride. Let's build something better, he said. The room erupted in applause. Not the polite, practiced applause that executives give, but the raw, grateful kind, from those who had been invisible for too long. As Lucas stepped down from the stage, the silver-dressed woman approached hesitantly. I'm sorry, she whispered. I don't know why I went along with them. I'm not proud of myself. Lucas studied her for a moment. Then he nodded gently. Then don't be that person anymore. Her eyes filled. Thank you for not firing me. Lucas offered a faint smile. Grow from this. That's all I ask. She nodded, trembling. As Lucas turned to leave, the junior in turn rushed up to him. Mr. Hale, wait. He stopped. She swallowed hard. I just wanted to say thank you. No one has ever believed in me like this. Lucas adjusted the hoodie sleeve over the wine stain and smiled softly. Then believe in yourself twice as hard, he said. I only opened the door. You're the one who has to walk through it. Her tears shimmered in the spotlight. Lucas walked toward the exit, hands in his pockets, disappearing into the soft hum of voices behind him. He didn't need applause. He didn't need spotlights. He didn't need titles. He just needed to know one thing. He left the world a little kinder tonight. And for Lucas Hale, that was more valuable than any $900 million deal. If this story touched your heart, share it. Because kindness doesn't always wear a smile, and heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes, they walk in covered in dust, carrying stories that could change your heart forever.